Good to go. Miss Donna?
I think Carrie just joined us.
Yeah, I'm back.
She's been in and out, but she's
Okay.
back.
So if Jeremy's ready, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at this time. And first on our agenda today, we have our facilities, construction, and future project update.
Well, great. I appreciate everybody being here today. I know this agenda is all about me sort of walking you all through some work we've been doing for the district. And I appreciate everybody's time, and I'll do what I can to keep things as short as possible. I think it's by way of introduction, I think that's probably it. I think we're going to touch base on an awful lot of projects here today.
Okay, Miss Donna, if you want me to, would you want me to go ahead and just start leading us through these?
Yeah, I think that's best, Mr. Saylor. If you just want to start walking us through all the facilities updates and then let Peter interject as he needs to. Okay,
our first one on the agenda is the Estill County Central Storage Facility Demolition Project. And of course, that's Old Irvin High, and the bid is taking place on that. So, Peter, we're ready for a recommendation from you.
Great. So I did forward a recommendation. On February 10th, we took 9 bids on the demolition of Old Irvin, and the low bid on the day came from Combs Trucking, LLC, and they provided a bid of $82,828, which came in just under the projected construction budget on the current BG1, which was set at $85,500. So we did our due diligence, and we're in communication quite a bit with Combs Trucking, as well as looking up their references that they sent, and they got very good. I got good reports back from everyone that I contacted about Combs Trucking. They've done a lot of school demolitions before. So I feel confident about this one, and I see no reason not to recommend awarding the contract to them. And if acceptable, you guys should also, you should award a contract to Combs Trucking and also approve the revised BG1 form, which I also sent to you.
Miss Donna, it is my recommendation as well that we approve Combs Trucking. I too have got nothing but rave reviews about the work that they do. So I believe they'll be a good partner to work with, and we can get started on this project. And I think the actual start date's right around April 1st.
That is correct.
Thank Peter, and that building should be down rather quickly before school's out. It should not take a long time. What's the duration? 1 month, Peter?
1 month is what is in the documents, and I guess till final completion is 6 weeks. So. Okay.
So my recommendation to the board is to award the contract to Combs Trucking in the amount of $82,000, and I forget the exact amount.
$828. $82,828.
That's my recommendation, Miss.
Okay. I'd like to call for a motion.
I make the motion.
Okay, I have a first by Sheila Samples. I need a second, please.
I'll second.
Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion regarding this? With none being stated, then I'd like to call for a vote. If everyone can please respond by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
4-0, I believe. I do not see Brian on here.
Okay, I thought I saw Brian on there a minute ago. So a 4-0 vote. So motion still carries.
Just one other bit of information, Ms. Isford. Still a lot of talk out there in the community. Basically, when we awarded this contract right now, that building, with the exceptions of what's in the contract document for us to retain as the district, now is the property of Combs Trucking. So, you know, there's all kinds of talk about brick and people wanting to get a brick and wanting to get something like this. We do plan on having a couple of public sales here during the month of March leading up to the start of demolition. And that's for the furniture and items that's already been surplus in that building. We will get that information out here and we will get those dates published. But when people's talking about they're wanting a brick or they're wanting this off the building, that building now technically belongs to them. Remember, they're also a salvage company. Part of their contract price is that they will recycle a lot of these materials, and that helps keep the price down for us. So there's people asking about brick. I don't think they're going to care about somebody getting a brick, but also we got to remember we want approximately, I forget how many brick is in the project that they have to clean up for us because we're going to build that memorial marker for Irvin High. So I just want to make that clear to everybody. We've exhausted efforts on some of that, but we'll advertise a couple of dates for the sale of surplus items. But once they begin April, and really as of today, when we awarded that contract, that building belongs to Combs Trucking now, in terms of the contents, not the contents, but in terms of the fixed items on that building. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Saylor.
Now we got a BG1, Ms. Esper, to approve.
Okay. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the BG1 for Old Irvin High School.
I
And
make
that's
the
my
motion.
recommendation. That's my recommendation. It just reflects the change in the price.
Okay. Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Tammy Hardy makes a second. Any discussion? If none being stated, I'd like to call for a vote at this time. All in favor, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And aye. I think that's everyone. I think that's a 4-0 vote, Mr. Saylor. So the
That's
motion
correct.
carries. Okay, next on our list, we have our high school ARP Esser Stadium Restroom Renovation Project.
Take it
Yes,
away, Peter.
All right. So this particular project is a renovation of the 2 restrooms in the existing field house at the stadium. And we have, along with CMTA, completed construction documents that we have presented to you. This is a tier 4 project, which means KDE doesn't need to review them before we go out to bid. So you are providing me the opportunity to advertise for bid for this particular project. And just so you know, Jeremy, if you can go to maybe one more page in. I'm going to try. I'm sorry, it's so big. Oh, we went too far. Hold on, I had it pulled up. A2.1 is going to be the one that probably will provide the most opportunity. If you can scroll into that bottom floor plan, that'll give you an idea of what we're doing.
Jeremy, can that be half screen? Because it's really, we can't see it right now. It's just small.
Can I share?
Jeremy?
Okay. Yeah, to that bottom floor plan.
Yeah, but we can't see that, Jeremy. It's not showing up. It's showing up as just a little box, just like our picture.
I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it too. Can you zoom in even
I can
closer?
see it, Jeremy.
I'll go out and find it myself. That's okay. I can't see it. Okay, I'm there.
So essentially, you guys, in this one, we were providing more fixtures in each of the restrooms. We added 2 additional fixtures, and actually all the fixtures are new in these restrooms. but 2 additional fixtures are available in the women's restroom and 1 additional urinal is available in the men's restroom. And we, obviously all the finishes are going to be new. We have new toilet partitions, the flooring, the walls are getting painted. The ceilings are getting painted. I think we had to end up doing so much ceiling demolition to get the exhaust fixed in the building that I think both restrooms are going to get new ceilings. So it's a big undertaking, and we got an August 19th deadline to meet for these babies. So we want to get the contractor in the field as soon as possible to coordinate with Kenny Davis and Codell. In addition to the 2 restrooms, we are providing a future laundry room for you guys, and all of the exhaust and the updated door hardware for a laundry room has been provided in that laundry space 404B. And that's the extent of this one. This is something that we had hoped to be able to do as part of the Phase 7 renovation, but had to sort of value engineer it out in order to get those bids in line back in May. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Anyone have any questions?
So when this bathroom project is finished there at the field house, essentially that entire building has been renovated.
We're doing a little bit of work in the locker room area right now, and providing a new entrance to that locker room area. That's all going on right now as part of Phase 7. The weight room itself didn't really get a renovation. And
It was already done, Peter. The weight room had already been done with new
That's
lighting.
what I was getting at, because we did some work on the weight room. And so basically, Mr. Saylor, that entire building has had some upgrades in some form or fashion.
Yes, and our maintenance department will be working on the electrical requirements that need to be upgraded in the concession stand. So you are correct. That building will be totally renovated with a new roof on it as part of Phase 7. And so we've been able to address it, and this allowed us to use some restricted monies that was outside that project. So it's a good move for the board. We just need to get it out there, get it on, and get this contractor in there so that we can get it done.
Okay. So with all of that being said, I'm asking for a motion to approve the construction documents and permission to advertise for a bid for the high school Esser Stadium restroom renovation project.
I make a motion.
Okay. Tammy Hardy makes a
I'll
motion. Do
second.
we have a second? Sheila Samples makes a second. Any discussion? All in favor, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
We got everybody.
Okay, so it's a 4-0 vote. Motion carries. Thank you. So we're moving along now to the Estill County Middle School Esser restroom renovation project. And first on the list, we have consideration or approval of construction documents for the middle school Esser restroom renovation project pending KDE approval, and that's BG 22-175.
Okay,
Correct.
Peter.
Yeah, so at the middle school, we're renovating the restrooms, and we have quite a bit of work going on in there. If you go, Jeremy, A 1.0 is probably gives the best overview of all of the different restroom spaces. You can kind of see that we're addressing. I think there were 12 in all, and there are some restrooms that are getting new plumbing fixtures as part of this project, and then some that will be reusing the plumbing fixtures because they were in really good shape. So we're still working through that before we go to the printer. But this gives you an idea. You see the gang restrooms on the first and second floor, and all of the private restrooms are getting renovated. Again, we have floor finishes. We have a really exciting product from wall finishes that I think will really help in the areas where we've had some settlement. And so Yeah, and this is the KDE construction documents. KDE will need to approve these before we can go out to bid. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
As you guys know, those restrooms, that building is now a little bit over 20 years old. And of course, we know that we've had issues in the past with some of the finishes in those restrooms due to the pyritic shell. Hopefully, we have found some avenues to address those that we believe will help take care of that. These restrooms will, and there's been a lot of work done at that middle school as well, trying to do some upkeep and different things. So this brings that building really up to a place where, in all honesty, I feel like that it puts us sort of on track that the next thing that any board would have to worry about in the future may very well be heat and air at some point in time. But as of right now, that's not even an issue. So I feel really good about this project. I think it really cleans the building up. Peter, I am correct that we do have the set of restrooms that's by the gymnasium. We're replacing all fixtures in those two restrooms because
Yes, we are.
those are the ones that the public will see. But we also, I think, have an alternate in this to reuse the existing commodes and urinals in the other restrooms, because quite honestly, they're in fantastic shape. But you'll get the option to either to reuse those, or there'll be an alternate bid to replace all the fixtures in those bathrooms as well. So you'll get to sort of make a decision on that. And of course, as always, we want to be good stewards of the money we have. And if we feel like that we can save several $1,000s by reusing fixtures that are in great shape, then that's what we need to do. But that's it for my part. I believe that based on Peter's work and our mechanical engineer, that my recommendation is to approve these documents.
Hey, Jeff, can I just make sure on this one, it's kind of important that we make sure that the BG3 that I sent is part of these documents.
I believe.
There you go. That's it. I just want to make sure the board understands that. And Jeremy is scrolling through it right now. The good news on this one is with the alternate for the plumbing fixtures that we took, we are under the BG1 estimate on this particular project by a little bit. So there's no need to update the BG1 at this time.
So with all of that being said, Mr. Saylor, is that your recommendation to ask for a motion to approve these documents?
Yes, my motion or recommended motion would be to approve these CDs and the revised BG3 for the middle school project.
Okay, so I need a motion as requested.
I'll make the motion.
Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Tammy Hardy makes a second. Any discussion at this time? All in favor, respond by saying aye.
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 Aye. So the motion carries with a 4-0 vote, Mr. Saylor.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, so we're moving along to the South Irvin Early Childhood Center Esser project, the renovation project there. Peter.
Great. So South Irvin, we got a nice color floor plan for you guys. We're sending you Schematic Design this month because KDE requested a couple of different submittals on this one. So we provided a Schematic Design for you this month. Just so you know, I'm coming back at you pretty quickly with construction documents on this project so we can kind of make every effort to get a contractor in the field in May. So we're busy working really hard on those, and I should have them to you just as soon as I can. The scope at South Irvin is relatively limited. We are replacing windows in the original building. There was, and in the adjunct building behind the school right now, windows are getting replaced. And then we're also going to be providing a new interior vestibule, secure entry vestibule. And just so you all know, the windows in that old portion of South Urban, the thing that kind of makes this so tricky is the windows in that old portion of the building are actually structural components of the wall system. So we're not just removing windows and putting in new windows. We're removing windows and building new walls. So that's where we are on that one. I think the only other thing that I wanted to make sure you all were aware of is KDE does like for boards of education to review the crime prevention survey list that I included with my submittal to you guys. It's not terribly applicable to this set of documents, but it is something that they like for you to review, and it's the crime prevention through environmental design principle checklist. And we did work with Mr. Saylor on that, and that has been provided for your review. You don't need to take action on that, but I kind of need to let my reviewer in Frankfurt know that you guys took a look at that. So it's nice if it's reflected in the board meeting minutes.
Okay, Mr. Saylor, do you have any further to add with that?
No, I did review that, and along with maintenance personnel in terms of the environmental checklist. And so we've done our due diligence on this, and we're ready to move forward. So it is my recommendation that we approve the SDs pending KDE approval.
Okay, I'd like to ask for a recommendation to consider approval of the schematic design documents for the South Urban Early Childhood Center and the Esser renovation project pending KDE approval, which is BG 22-176. I'd like to ask for a motion.
I make the motion.
Shayla Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion? With none being voiced, I'd like to call for a vote at this time. Everyone respond by saying yay or nay.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries with a 5-0 vote, or a 4-0 vote, I'm sorry. Okay, next we're down to the Estill Springs Elementary School Esser renovation / addition project. First of all, on the list, we have consideration or approval of the design development documents at Estill Springs for the Esser renovation addition project pending KDE approval.
So you guys, this is an exciting project. We've got a lot going on with it right now. I will tell you that this is the last submittal where we'll be looking at the entire project sort of as one construction submittal. We'll be breaking off an early site package, probably be back for your March meeting on this early site package so that you can review that in more detail. This is a really good shot, Jeremy, because it kind of picks up everything that we really need to pick up. So we're currently heavy in design. We have a lot of programming and review to do with the district before we get where we need to be. But we have this 4 classroom addition that we're showing, and it is, as you can see, yeah, that's right where Jeremy's hand are. We're moving forward with that addition. And Staggs and Fisher's done a really good job of getting the MEP work sort of ironed out. And we do have a bit of an issue with a telephone, a power pole there working around, and we will get rid of it by the end of the project, but it's going to have to stay for a little bit of time because of some things. But we're doing our best to work around that. And you know, we've got the 4 classroom addition. We are going to be renovating the floor of the gymnasium and the bleachers in the gymnasium. That's not yet. And then we're really doing a lot of site work. You can see the new parent drop-off loop, the new parking lot areas, and this area that's sort of going to end up being sort of an outdoor classroom memorial park, where the old Old Irvin used to be. And all of that is currently getting developed, and we'll be working on some programming with you guys for that area here very shortly. The early site package is just going to be the road, and then the building package is going to include the memorial site and the building addition and all the work in the gym. There is some hardware that we're doing as well. We're going to make sure when we leave Estill Springs that all of the hardware is currently on the district's central system. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Mr. Saylor, do you have any comments about this?
No, I really don't. I know that we have looked at this project rather extensively, and it's sort of important, I guess, that we go ahead and get some movement on this. I do think that the future of this project is probably in 2 phases. The first phase being the parking lot and entrance and exit changes that need to be made. And then, of course, along with that, which of course is really the outdoor work, with the second phase being the classroom addition and the things that's needed there. And that's sort of the way we've talked about moving forward on that. But this is our first thing to get the DDs approved, and then we can move forward from there. So my recommendation is to approve these documents.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the design development documents for Estill Springs Esser renovation / addition project?
I make a motion.
Tammy Hardy makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Sheila Samples makes a second. Do we have any discussion? Anybody have any comments at this time before I call for a vote? Okay, with none being stated, I'd like to ask for a vote at this time. Please respond by yay or nay.
Aye.
Aye. So motion carries with a 4-0 vote.
And Ms. Isford, can I add one thing here? We're moving forward with this project so that if everything, as everybody knows, we have a very planned budget, a very tight budget to move forward with these projects. And all along, we have said that Estill Springs is sort of the gravy on top of the turkey and dressing here if we can get this project done. But our priority lies with the high school and the completion of that entire project to move forward. But in order for us to do that, we've got to move forward in terms of the pricing and the bidding and everything that we need to. We'll have a lot clearer picture come probably the 1st of May. Would you not agree with that, Peter, in terms of how we move forward? But we should have a lot of answers by then. So we're moving forward in full faith that we're going to be able to do this, but we want everybody to understand that at the end, we only have a very limited amount of funds. So this is sort of like the end of the priority list on the projects. So I want everybody to know that in the public.
But the first step in doing this is to get the documents out there and then let things go to bid and see what the money comes in at. And then we can decide if we can move forward. But this is the first step in moving forward.
That is exactly right. And if we get to the point sometime in May, we see that we can't move forward, doesn't mean that's bad. The plans are there. All the work is done. We paid for. It may just be that the board has to wait, and it may have to wait beyond my tenure here. It may be something you have to come back with the new superintendent in the next 16 months from now to do. But all the plans and all the work is done. It's just a matter, when does the construction cost get back in line? That's the big fear, is the cost of construction right now.
But for sure, Old Irvin High is coming down. Correct. And the parking flow traffic patterns are going to be corrected, and we will still move forward with the Memorial Park there.
I agree. I think that's what we talked about with Peter is that we're gonna move forward with the traffic design and the parking lots and all that. It may just be that we will not be able to complete phase two if the money is not sufficient. And is that not the, basically the discussions we've had, Peter?
We have had that discussion. I will say right now, the memorial area and outdoor classroom area is not slated to be part of the early site package. And I'll need to revisit that with my team and see if that's something that can happen, or if we need to, if it's really tied into the addition there. So I'll have to revisit that with Michael and let you know.
Peter, I think I don't want to speak for the board, but I think the board would be in agreement if at all possible, all of that area outside there needs to be taken care of as part of early site, if at all possible.
Okay.
Because if something happens, we could not build the restrooms. We would still want to have that area available for the public use, because that's going to be very important to our friends that graduated from Irvin High.
Correct.
I think it's very important from a community aspect. And if we just have basically a building torn down that's going to basically be a grassy area, I don't think that's what the intention of the board would be. I would think we would want to move that part into the site package if at all possible.
Okay.
Okay?
I'll check with Michael and I'll check with Kenny Davis, and we'll make that work.
Would you all agree with that, guys, as our board?
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that's pretty much how we promised that we would do it with the Irvin High plaque, and that we would have a space there for them.
So if you can, Peter, take care of that for us.
Yep. And we come back with you. Like I said, we'll be back next month with CDs for that portion of the project. So we have some time to develop that for you. And we do have some programming. We need to revisit that with the district and make sure that this memorial is going to be what you all are looking for.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. So we're moving along to the Esser High School Sanitary Line Project.
Believe it or not, we've got something for you all today that we believe is going to help us move forward with this project. So I'll lead here, Peter, and then
Yep.
you can jump in. Back in January, we rejected a bid from LACO Incorporated. And at the time, based on the information that we had, we felt like that was the right move to make. Now, as we have moved forward and we've done a little bit more digging in this, we feel like that in order for us to move forward, we need to rescind that action from the January meeting where we rejected that bid, and now we need to accept that bid. And thankfully, LACO is going to work with us. They're going to honor that bid because we're still within, I think, the bid timeline that what they presented. And quite honestly, now they could have told us no. They could have flat out told us no, but I think they have been very willing to work with Peter and his team on this. And we believe this is the best way to get us started. And then Peter and his group are working on some things that we believe that can still be pulled back, that's going to allow us to get a brand new line. But there may very well be some change order deductions that could happen, if I'm saying that correctly, Peter, based
Yes,
on
you
the
are.
change in design development that is going to make that cost come down. But the first step is to rescind that motion from January and then accept the bid and let Peter work with LACO and the district work with them to get a price that's more affordable for us.
Okay. So I would like to ask for a motion to rescind the board action on January 20th from the board meeting rejecting the bid submitted by LACO in the amount of $283,431. I need a motion to rescind that
I
action.
make the motion.
Okay, Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion in regards to this? Okay. With none being said, I'd like to call for a vote at this time. Please vote with yay or nay.
Aye.
Yay.
Aye.
4-0.
Motion carries a 4-0 vote. Thank you. Okay, so now we need to award a contract for the Esser High School Sanitary Line Project, pending KDE approval.
Peter?
And so on January 13th, we did receive a bid in the midst of some competitive negotiation from Lagco Incorporated. We did not receive bids from the other two companies that were in competitive negotiation with them. The bid amount for the work was $283,431. And the district, I feel like, has done their due diligence in exploring other avenues of trying to figure out a less expensive way to get this important work done and completed in a timely manner. This is, in our opinion, there's no reason not to accept this. And the board should pass a motion to award a contract to Lagco Incorporated in the amount of $431, excuse me, and approve the revised BG1 form. So I'll be happy to answer any questions. We're talking about rising construction costs. I think that this one certainly fell in that realm for sure.
Peter, you feel like we can make one motion here? The recommended motion would be to award the contract and revise the BG1.
I think you can do, yeah, that's fine. That would be fine.
Okay. So I'd like to ask for a motion to award the contract and approve the revised BG1 on that project.
I make the motion.
Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion? Okay, all in favor, respond.
Aye.
Aye. That's a 4-0 vote, Mr. Saylor, so the motion carries.
And guys, just for a note here that again, there will be some opportunity here possibly to save some money as we move forward on this. So just wanted to let you all know that. And this also allows us to get started so we do not delay the football stadium. And we all know that we do not want to do that.
Okay. All right, that brings us down to our action items, Mr. Saylor.
And Peter, if you don't care, I think the board is getting ready to, based on just what I'm hearing, that we're looking at scheduling a special called meeting on the evening of March 3rd. I know that you said you had some stuff that you might need approved in early March.
Yep.
So I want you to know before you leave us, if that is the case, we could make that part of this board meeting on the 3rd.
That's fantastic news. That's
You just
fantastic
let
news.
me know, and we can basically deal with both a little bit of construction and before we begin a discussion here that we plan on having, I believe.
I won't send you 15 agenda items, I promise.
That'd be good.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay.
Thank you
We,
much.
we appreciate it.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, Mr. Saylor, we would like to discuss our plan of school organization and the district facility plan.
Well, I think after our last meeting, we put it on the agenda just to, for you all to be thinking about how you would like to proceed with this topic, just so that the general public does know this discussion does center around the fact that Estill Springs and West Irvin would become K-5 school centers, which means that students that live on the northern side of Estill County would attend Estill Springs. Students that live on the south side of the river would attend West Urban. And there might be a few caveats as we get towards the western part of the county, but those would all be looked at a different time. Both schools and their leadership teams have been having this discussion, and they're waiting on a decision from you all, because I do believe the next step is that if you all want to look into this a little bit more extensively, we need to hear from those school leadership teams. And I had looked at a date of March the 3rd in order to do that, where we would have a special called meeting. There would be 2 topics on that meeting. One would be the few facility items that Peter has for us. And then the other item would be a board work session to have conversations with the leadership teams from Estill Springs and West Urban. So this is totally up to you all. I basically open it up to the floor to you all to have this discussion and decide if you want to have this meeting.
Well, Mr. Saylor, I don't mind to start. I feel like that as a board, we need more information to move forward with this. And so I certainly feel that we need to do our due diligence in making sure that this is the right move for our children in this community. And I feel like that it would be imperative that we have a meeting so that we can find information and make sure that this is the right move. So my recommendation to the board would be that we have a special called meeting, but we hear from the principals and the leadership at each of the respective schools.
I agree.
I agree, because I think it's something that we need to move forward as a community.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, then also, just so you all will know, our district leadership team will be there and will be available to answer any questions that you may have of us as well. I think after we have that meeting on the 3rd and you're able to process that information, or you may be able to even process it during that time, I do think if you decide to take the next step is to listen to public input on this same matter at a different time. And I think that would come more, maybe, I'm just laying a timeline out for you all, is that, remember, our March 17th meeting is at the high school, and we'll have middle school and high school presenting. We've got our big ATC open house. So that meeting agenda is rather full, but then what I would think is we would come back immediately after that, before the end of the month, and have a time for public comment if you decide to move forward after that meeting. And you really don't have to make that decision to the 17th if you want to take time to digest what you hear on the 3rd.
And Mr. Saylor, also at this special called meeting, when we meet with the principals and leadership on March 3rd, I would like personally to have information about the number of students in each district. I would like to know about classroom and classroom size, how many teachers would be required for each grade level. I would like some testing information. I would like to have more details when we have this meeting.
Exactly.
I believe that's what the leadership teams, there should be school data out there that we can bring you. It will be, of course, there's no state accountability data, as you know, for Estill Springs, but they do have some school data that they collect in dealing with learning loss issues that they're experiencing K-1-2. We can have those items for you. We do have sort of a breakdown right now of what enrollment numbers would be. We can talk about the schools themselves in terms of the size of our schools and all those different things that you're asking for in terms of the number of projected grades at each level. So we'll have that data for you at the district level. Mr. Norton will be glad to work on that. Miss Peggy Bryant, of course, she's the infinite campus master. She can pull out things that we need. So we'll have that information for you. So I believe based on this conversation, then I would just like to have it in the board minutes that you all wish to set a special called meeting on the 3rd to have a work session with school leadership teams concerning our K-5 school program.
And Mr. Saylor, I personally would like to have some information on best practice. What are other districts doing, and what is recommended as far as housing those kindergarten students through 5th grade in each school? Is there anything out there that represents best practice?
We can gather that information as well. As a matter of fact, I know that Miss Arvin at West Urban has already done some research into that, and she would be more than willing to provide that information. As I told you all the other day, based on elementary test scores throughout the state of Kentucky, there's a little over 500 schools that have elementary test scores. The highest performing K through or 3rd through 5th grade intermediate school is in the mid 200s. I think it's like 235. So there's 235 K through 5 schools that are performing better than any 3 through 5 school in this state. And so there's just from that in terms of test data at the state level, accountability data.
Sure.
So there's some information out there. I know she's done some work she shared with Miss Isaacs and Miss Mullins and I during our preliminary meetings back in January, February. So we'll have those documents for you. We'll try to, Jeremy, we may want to create some type of drive for this that we can start putting this information in there and make that drive available to our board members ahead of time where they can start looking at this data. Can you take care of that for us? Okay, we'll get you the information that you all need to be able to get into that. And if you have problems, all you have to do is contact Jeremy to make sure that he can get you into that. It's not that difficult. If I can do it, I think anybody can. I'll not make any negative technology comments today for Jeremy's sake since he's on here.
Mr. Saylor, do we need a motion to approve the special called meeting?
I would like to have that motion just for complete transparency. We want to make sure that this process is completely transparent. And if we go ahead and make it as a motion and get that set, then Rebecca can go ahead and we can get that information out there. We also want to let the public know that they will have an opportunity for input if we take step 3 after this is basically step 2 of the process. If we take step 3, the public will have an opportunity to be able to make comment.
Okay. And maybe if we get to step 3, we could open that forum up and have that meeting at the high school in the auditorium or somewhere where we have more space and more room for people to come.
Yes, that should not be a problem. I think we can work with the high school in order to do that. And I have had one standing issue that I want everybody to know. This conversation focuses around one thing. It focuses around what is best for the students of our county and what's best for our parents and our students. We're not going to focus on adults here because in this particular case, we're hired to do a job. This is the way I see it. And I believe that any teacher or any staff member in this district is going to say, if it's good for kids, then we're going to be behind this decision. So we want our focus, our discussion has to be what's best for students and what's going to make the greatest impact on our students that graduate from Estill County High School. So this is an important decision, and we don't want to get clouded behind the fact that somebody may have to go to another school Or, we might have to add a bus route. If we need to add a bus route to make this happen, we're going to make it happen. If this is what's best for kids. So that's the focus here. What is best for our students in terms of their academic and emotional well-being?
Okay. So, with all that being said, I would ask for approval. I would ask for a motion to approve our special call board meeting on March 3rd, 2022 at 6 p.m.
I'll make a motion.
I'll
I'll
make the motion.
Okay, it looks like Carrie Smallwood makes a motion and Sheila Samples makes a second. Do we have any comments further? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, yay.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries, Mr. Saylor. It's 4-0.
Thank you.
Okay, I would like to ask for an adjournment at this time. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second? Tammy Hardy makes a second. So all in favor of adjournment, respond with
Aye.
okay.
Mr. Saylor, what time will the meeting be?
6
We'll make it at 6 p.m. That way that it'll be after school and give everybody time to take care of their families and stuff in return for that meeting if they desire to do so.
Okay, thank you.
Just a reminder.
See
Go
y'all
ahead,
Thursday,
Tammy.
Friday, whenever.
Yes, I was going to say that, Tammy. Thanks for reminding that KSBA starts Friday morning. I think everybody probably going to arrive Thursday evening. Make sure just safe travels to everybody, and we'll see you down there for an exciting weekend at KSBA that wraps up Sunday morning. So we'll see everybody down
And
there.
I want to say good luck to our boys and girls district
Yes.
starting tonight. Unfortunately, I can't make it because I had to work longer today. But go Engineers!
Amen.
Thank you much.
Bye, guys.
Everyone take
Bye-bye.
care.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.